Assalamu alaikum. There are four different types of Muslim brothers and sisters who want to lose weight, and in this video, I'm going to show you the exact pathway for each of these four types of people, which you're guaranteed to fall in one of these four categories. If you're not, I'll be very surprised. So comment down below, and I'll give you a personalized, sort of roadmap as well. But it's going to give you the different roadmaps for the four different types of Muslims who want to lose weight. So super excited. This presentation, I put a lot into it, so I hope you enjoy it, and I know you're going to get a lot out of it. So please make sure to take notes, and let's dive into the screen share. So again, the four archetypes of Muslims who want to lose weight and the unique pathway to results for each of them, because each different approach requires a different pathway. Now, of course, there's still some individualization that's going to be needed for each different type of person, but this is the general roadmap, and then the specific numbers are fairly simple from there, okay? So again, you're gonna have four different types of people. You have the unaware uncles and aunties. So this is somebody who eats, 3,000 plus calories of like curry, biryani, fried samosas, ice cream, all that stuff. Now, obviously, if you're from a different culture, you can replace biryani with munsaf and maqluba, right? And, fried, meat pastries and hummus, whatever culture you're from, or maybe you're from a different culture and it's just straight up fried chicken and hot dogs or whatnot. But again, the individual who's eating 3,000 calories of just deep fried everything and just sweets and all of these traditional foods with no regard for health whatsoever, who's super unaware that they should even be fit, right? So that might be the category you fall into. It's probably not though, actually, but I'm sure you know some people probably in your family who fall in this category who would love to be able to help, inshallah, through these videos, because at the end of the day, the whole mission and message here is to help the ummah to get fit, okay? I want to see Muslims get fit, healthy, and not struggle with these problems of like diabetes, cholesterol, heart disease. There's so many preventable issues and diseases that Muslims have all over the ummah that we could prevent if we just had education and culture around health. Instead of having culture around sweets, what if you had culture around health? Instead of the culture being, oh, it's a special occasion, we got to put extra oil on the food, what if it was, hey, we're trying to live a long, high-quality life with as much energy as possible to serve Allah and serve the world and serve our family and serve our work and serve our ummah. Let's be mindful of what we put in our body. Let's be mindful of how much oil we use, of how much sugar we use, and maybe increase the amount of protein we use more complex carbohydrates. But obviously we need to know what that is, which is why there needs to be a culture of both the cultural element of eating healthy, where it's like that's the norm, but also of knowledge and what is actually healthy, what constitutes health. And that's the thing, is there's a lot of nuances in the health industry, and I'm going to dive into some of them today, and I do in many other videos as well. But I just really want to dive into, this specific piece right here. So that's one category of just unaware, they don't even realize that health and fitness is important. And so they need to learn that so that they can say, oh, I actually have control over whether I have diabetes or not. I mean, obviously everything's the qadr of Allah, but, the choices you make have a direct impact on the results you get. If you eat, 3,000 calories a day of curry, biryani, fried samosas, and ice cream every single day, of course you're going to have blood sugar issues. Of course you're going to be overweight, all that stuff. Versus if you didn't do all that, or you at least ate moderate quantities like our Prophet ﷺ, set an example for us and gave us in the hadith, then guess what? You might actually be in shape and be healthier, happier, perform better at work, more energy, better role model to your kids, more confident, better relationship with your wife or husband, whatever it may be. So life could be better, and most importantly, your connection with Allah could be better because He gave you this body as an amana that you got to treat with respect, okay? So that's what this person needs to realize. Next up, you have somebody who is aware, they're health conscious, but they've never lifted or, done a proper like meal plan before. The brother just who falls into that category. So usually this person eats about 2,500 plus calories of foods that they think are healthy, like nuts. Now, before everybody freaks out and says, but nuts have polyunsaturated fats, that means it's healthy. Yeah, okay, but just because it's healthy doesn't mean it's good for having the body composition you want. And typically these health-conscious aunties and uncles are not morbidly obese like the, uncle or auntie is eating 3,000 calories a day and has a giant belly and weighs 250, 300 plus pounds. But this individual probably has a little bit of a belly. Maybe they're like, 220, 240, or maybe they're even 180 or 150, but they have a belly. And again, 150, depending on your height, like if you're 6'3" and you're 150, you're going to be skinny no matter what. But if you're like 5'6" and 150, you could easily have a solid belly going and want to lose that belly fat, but struggle to do so, even though you're trying to eat healthy and be more active and do like cardio classes and whatever, because you're not taking the right approach. So we're going to talk about what is the right approach and the right education as well in this video. And then if you want to dive deeper, I'll recommend some other videos from my channel that go deeper into all this stuff. Okay. The third category of individual who wants to lose weight is somebody, again, they're very aware. They're not unaware, but they're aware, who's an ex-athlete, or they used to lift weights consistently. They used to be really fit, like in solid shape, but they haven't been consistent in a while. This is a category I fell into when I got overweight and during different points in my life where I got overweight. Because alhamdulillah, I used to be like the skinny kid with a belly when I was 15, but by the time I was, 17, 18, 19, alhamdulillah, I had a great physique. Had a great physique until college, my first 2 years of my career. But then after that, when I took on a managerial role, I got overweight. I put on a lot of weight. I gained like 20 or 30 pounds. I had a belly, all that stuff. And I kind of yo-yoed a bit. So then I fell into, the yo-yo category, except I was never yo-yo dieting. Like the chronic dieter in the fourth category here, who, I was never doing this low of calories, but I was doing like intense, like 3 hours a day of working out. So that was kind of my version of this yo-yoing. So I guess that would be a fifth category, but you guys get the idea. And it wasn't until I learned how to do so in a more sustainable way that I was able to kind of lose the weight and keep it off. But even so, if I don't get dialed in, or if I if I start waking up late and, not fulfilling the disciplines that I know make me happy intrinsically, which is the process I've built for myself, is optimizing for energy and quality of life, and I start falling short of those disciplines, then of course I'm going to see some negative consequences and I'm going to need to tighten it up. It happens. But again, having that knowledge and that awareness and that culture and that right environment around you and the right systems and strategies in your life and cultivating that for yourself, which we talk about a lot in other content, this is the thing that's going to be required for you to get the best results possible in every single area of your life. Okay. So again, starting with fitness, but everything in fitness is a metaphor for everything else. So the aware ex-athlete or lifter who used to be fit and has been consistent a while. Now, this person probably still has some residual positive habits from back when they used to be fit. So they're probably eating about 1,800 to 2,500 calories a day, relatively healthy foods, but they still have poor activity levels because now they sit in front of a desk working a lot, or in the office or in the hospital, or whatever it may be, and they're way less active than they used to be when they were younger and playing sports and working out and hitting the gym and, going on hikes and all that stuff that you used to do. Again, right now you're doing a lot less of that, okay? And they don't lift anymore because they don't have time anymore, so they think, because they have a family, they got kids, they have work. So yeah, you may not have like 3 to 5 hours a day to work out like you used to when you were an athlete in college, or in your early 20s or before you got married or whatever, but you still have time to go prioritize yourself and work out 3 days a week for 45 minutes at the gym, or even 30 minutes if you're that compressed for time that you can't even spare the extra 15 minutes, okay? And some of these guys, I even baby step them up with 10 minutes a day of working out and lifting and doing resistance training at home, so there isn't even a commute time until they can get themselves back up. But usually for the ex-athlete, they're down to ramp it up faster, versus it's more so the unaware uncle and auntie and the never lifted, never worked out before, total newbie, who I need to baby step with like 10-minute workouts until they start to have a positive association with working out. And then I can start to say, okay, cool, let's go for, 20 minutes, let's go for 30 minutes, let's go for 45 minutes, maybe even 60 minutes if they have time, right? Usually not above 60 though, because that becomes kind of counterproductive, not just sustainability wise, but also recovery wise, because when you're older, you can't just, recover from the same amount of working out that maybe you used to recover from when you were younger. Like when you're 18, 22, you're invincible. You can go work out for 5 hours and like get injured and then be fine the next day. Like versus when you're like even 27, 28, maybe even as low as 26, like as soon as you pass 25, things start to like kind of go downhill unless you're proactive about it, which is a big thing that the ex-athlete needs to learn how to do, is treat some of these potential past injuries and aches and pains that they have, which we're going to talk about today as well. So if you're, an ex-athlete, you used to be super fit, but right now you're kind of inactive, you don't lift anymore, but you have plenty of muscle memory, you probably have some past injuries or aches and pains, but you kind of shrug them off because you're in that old school mindset where it's like, hey, whatever, push through the pain. Shoulder hurts, keep working out. Hurts more, keep working out, keep pushing. No, that's the wrong mindset. If you want your shoulder to last you till you're 70, take care of that by learning how to warm up properly. We're going to talk about that today. And then the final category is the chronic dieter. Usually it's sisters, but I've encountered plenty of brothers who either were working with like a strict bodybuilding coach who made them do this, or who did like other programs before, who again, they were in like this place where they were eating super low calories, or they read the studies that said, oh, low calorie diets are a great way to lose weight. Yeah, lose weight, but what about keeping it off, okay? Unless you do a proper reverse diet to come off those low calorie diets, then you're never going to be able to sustain that weight loss. But the best thing is to just take a more sustainable approach in the first place, okay? So the chronic dieter is somebody who has lost weight on 800 to 1,200 calorie diets, but has cycles of binging and restricting and is constantly losing and gaining the same 20 to 50 pounds for years. They may or may not lift, but usually they don't lift. They do a lot of cardio though, and if they do lift, they're not really doing it properly, okay? So these are kind of the 4 categories. So again, you've got uncles and aunties who don't even know what health is, Okay, you've got people who think they're healthy, but yet they still have a belly for some reason, and they're like, what's going on? I thought I was eating healthy. I snack on nuts instead of chips, but I don't realize how many calories nuts have, so we're going to talk about how to fix that. Okay, you have the people who are like, yeah, I used to work out. Look at this picture of me when I used to have a six-pack, but now I have a belly. That's what happens when you get older. It's going to happen to you too. No, it doesn't, man. I got clients who are in their 40s who have a six-pack, okay? So stop making excuses. And then lastly, you got the chronic dieter who's like, yeah, man, I did this other thing and it lost a lot of weight, but then I did it again and I lost a little less weight, and then I gained it back, and then I did this thing, I lost weight, and I did keto, and then I did intermittent fasting, and then I lost the weight, but then I gained it back, right? And then I did this 800-calorie diet, and then I worked with this one trainer, and they were really, really good, and I was super motivated, but then this happened, and now I gained the weight back, right? So that's, there's so many people who fall in that category, right? So here are the four kind of main categories, and, there's a 99% chance you fall in one of these four categories. Probably the last two. I'd say like 40% of people, 30 to 40% of people who watch my content are probably, actually no, I can't put a percentage. I really don't know. I should do a poll on my Instagram story. But anyway, so these are the four types of people who I primarily work with, okay? So I'm going to share for free all the tips and the roadmaps on how this stuff works, because this video is meant to just be free. A lot of people struggle in their fitness journey, and I don't want you to be one of them. So I'm going to give you all the free knowledge here so that you don't need to like go waste, time, money, and energy doing a bunch of BS that doesn't work, okay? All right. So let's talk about the solution. So I have a unique solution for each person. I'm going to start with the unaware uncle or auntie. So if you're like, hey, I don't have a lot of time, let me just skip to the category I'm at. Just go search in the video. I might add some timestamps later if you're on YouTube, but just like go find the part of the video where I talk about your specific thing, or watch all of it. Because maybe, your uncle, after you apply my tips, is going to be like, man, how'd you lose 20 pounds? How'd you lose 30 pounds? How'd you get so fit since the last time I saw you at the last wedding? And you say, well, uncle, here's what I did, but here's what Coach Munir recommends you do. In fact, let me send you this video, but at least you'll be able to share that knowledge with them, because that's what this is all about. This is about sharing, the knowledge and the barakah and the da'wah of health with everybody. Like, just like how we want to share our beautiful religion, the more passionate and deep we become with our deen, our religion, the more we want to share it with other Muslims to bring them closer to the deen because of the benefits we see, but also even with non-Muslims who ask, who are like, hey, I see you leaving for your lunch break to go pray all the time, and I really think that's a beautiful thing, right? Not the ones who are like, you guys terrorists? No, obviously not those ones. You can try to give da'wah to them too. They're probably going to be not receptive, but like you probably have coworkers who are like truly intrigued, genuinely curious. You say, hey, here's some da'wah, right? So same thing with fitness. Let's give da'wah to each other in the ummah and to non-Muslims too, but especially in our ummah, I see so many health problems, and a lot of like health and fitness coaches don't really tailor it to Muslims and the problems we have with like biryani, being guilted into eating unhealthy food by like your grandma and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of unique challenges that we face as Muslims, plus the fact that like we tend to have this like massive hustle culture where we go so hard in our careers but we neglect our health. That happens in non-Muslims too, but definitely, especially for a lot of us where our family came from nothing overseas, we came here, we made it, we built a big career or business, but now we're super lopsided and one-dimensional, and we're in our 30s and already have blood pressure issues or cholesterol issues or diabetes. So what this is about is bringing back what's truly important, which is deen and health, because of how it helps you be a better Muslim, a better professional, a better, show up better to work, and obviously be better for your family. So share that da'wah of health with them. But anyways, without further ado, let's dive in and talk about the strategy. So for the unaware uncle or auntie, they need to realize how important health is to be the best Muslim that they can be, and to have energy and health, and to perform their best at work and with their family, and to do as many good deeds as possible, and that it doesn't have to be so hard to lose weight, okay? Because the pathway to get there for this individual is actually pretty easy, because they're the one who's like starting off with the worst place, right? So what the unaware uncle or auntie needs to do is take ownership and stop making excuses that they don't have time, that they don't know what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. And then also just realize that, hey, you know what? This is actually important to me. This isn't just something that'd be nice to have. This is something I need to do, because I'm going to die of diabetes when I'm 40 if I don't do this, because that's what my father did. He had a heart attack when he was 40 or 50. I'm not saying my father. I'm saying the story of the unaware uncle or auntie needs to realize that their father or mother died of a heart attack or stroke or whatever in their 40s or 50s, and I don't want to do that to my kids. Or maybe their father or mother's like 60, but they're unable to take care of themselves, and now they're a little bit of a burden to their kids. And as Muslims, we take care of our elders, of course, alhamdulillah, as opposed to like non-Muslims who just say go to the old people's home. But like, do you want to be a burden to your kids? No. So if you're in that place where you're like only in your 30s and you already have health problems, or you're only in your 40s and you already have health problems, and you know that in your 50s or 60s it's going to be so much worse, and how that's going to burden your family, how that's going to like just be so terrible in so many ways, the reason needs to be greater than the resistance. The pain of the path that you're on to being super unhealthy and causing all this pain to everybody around you, and not being able to have the energy to go to work and barely make it through another grueling day of work without needing 10 coffees, But I think really the biggest thing that moves us emotionally is seeing the impact it has on family. And even if you're like one of the other categories where you don't like the fact that you have a belly and you're not a good example to your kids, or you don't like the fact that you used to be in shape but now you're overweight and you don't like that personal sense of pride for yourself, or maybe you're just frustrated that you spent the last 20 years dieting, wasting time, money, and energy on trainers, programs, diets, pills, shakes, everything, and you finally want to change, the reason greater than the resistance framework works for everybody, okay? But the reasons for each person are going to be different. But even so, like even if you're like an ex-athlete and you have cholesterol issues, then you might have the same motivator as the uncle, which is to have health, to be around long-term for your family and not have a heart attack in your 50s, okay? So when that reason is finally greater than resistance, that's when you'll take action. This applies to everybody. Now, again, for the uncles and aunties, relatively easy. All you got to do is just learn to portion control per the Sunnah and Hadith. Learn to prep lower calorie, healthier versions of your favorite foods, which I've got plenty of free recipes on my page as well, so check them out. Learn about staying active and about resistance training, so aka weight training, whether that's with some adjustable dumbbells at home or whether it's going to a proper gym. Usually adjustable dumbbells at home for the uncles and aunties is the best way to go. And then consistently implementing for 3 months until it becomes a habit. But then we also, like within the first couple of weeks, we want to establish that sustainability and enjoyability and a positive association with exercise and healthy eating, because your energy levels are going up, you're enjoying the process, all that stuff, because that's going to make the whole process of that 3 months till it becomes a habit, like a truly locked in habit and identity and non-negotiable part of who you are. That's going to make that whole 3 month process, or even 6 month process for some people, that much more enjoyable. So anyways, apologize if there's any noise in the background. The Amazon truck's being very loud outside. But anyways, we're going to dive into the next category, which is somebody who's a total newbie to working out, but they're at least aware and they're trying. They're trying to eat healthy snacks. They're like, hey, you know what? I switched from chips to nuts. I switched from soda to juice. I switched from, beef to chicken. And they think those are healthy choices. But in reality, the nuts still have a ton of calories. The juice still has tons of sugar. And if you're eating, chicken thighs and chicken legs versus like lean ground beef, the lean ground beef actually has a better protein to calorie ratio for body composition. Now, if you get specific, like, colon issues or digestive issues or cholesterol issues from red meat specifically, then sure, you can cut it out. But usually it's going to be the fat content of your meat. And the other thing that's going to mess with your cholesterol is, your body fat and how much sugar you're consuming. So if you lose body fat, cut down on the sugar, cut down on the fat, your cholesterol 1000% is going to get way better, which significantly reduces your risk of a heart attack if that's a concern for you. Same thing with diabetes. It's not enough to switch from soda to juice because juice still has a lot of sugar. Why don't we get you on some sugar-free drinks or water, right? But there's also a lot of sugar-free drinks that are much better on your blood sugar so that we can actually get your A1C down and improve your diabetic health markers, right? So again, the newbie who thinks they're eating healthy but still has a belly for some reason needs to learn about calories, about macros, about how the metabolism works, and about gut health. Now, I would love to deep dive this on this video, but I actually just released a video either, I think it was earlier this week or it was last week, but like within the last 7 days, that is a 40 to 45 minute deep dive on everything you need to know about metabolism, including the 4 main drivers of what constitutes your metabolism to get into a sustainable calorie deficit to guaranteed lose fat in a sustainable way. So what I'll do on YouTube is I'll attach like a link to it if I can, like a sticker or whatever, like somewhere up here if I can. If not, just check it out on my channel if you don't see a little button right here. And from there, let's get you learning about the stuff so you can go and implement. Now, I don't want to do like a promo or anything for the program because I'm not really intaking any new clients specifically over the next 2 weeks from the time I'm recording this. I mean, obviously, if somebody hits me up, like I'm not going to turn them away as long as they're a good fit, but I'm just saying like I'm not trying to actively promote anything. But I would say for somebody who falls in that category, it's really beneficial to have a coach. I mean, for anybody, it's beneficial to have a coach. But try implementing my free stuff first. Get a little bit of momentum so we can hit the ground running if we do end up working together. And then from there, the next time you see an intake for my program, or if you just want to shoot me a DM on Instagram and ask about when's the next intake or what the details on it are, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm not trying to actively promote anything right now because at the time I'm shooting this video, I'm not doing any sort of active enrollment. But yeah, if you have questions, just shoot me a message. But do the free stuff first, and then, hopefully we can work together because you really benefit from having a coach so you can just learn this stuff 1000%. Now, I will say this. If you're a college student and you don't have a lot of money, you're going to have to figure this out on your own, but at least you're not as busy as you'll be when you have a job. So figure it out now while you have time. And if you haven't figured it out by then, well, at least when you have a job, you'll have money so that you can just hire a coach. But yeah, if you have a job and you don't have a lot of time, you don't have time to figure this out on your own, so you should probably hire a coach, okay? So I just wanted to say that. But anyway, so let's dive into this. The aware but newbie. So they need to learn this stuff. They need to realize that nuts and nut butters may be healthy fats, but they have way too many calories. So you have to learn about calories in versus calories out. Again, watch the other video that I mentioned, telling you that other video that I did the other day will totally change the game for you, inshallah. And then They need a meal plan and training plan that they can sustain and enjoy, that optimize your energy, enjoyment, flexibility with your nutrition plan, recovery, so you can actually recover from the workouts, and quality of life, right? So obviously those are the parameters for a good meal plan. You need to learn about proper meal prep, that carbs are not evil, despite what the diet industry has told you, as long as they're the right carbs, and how to train properly to get the most bang for your buck and build an active lifestyle. So again, that's a lot of stuff that you'll learn with a solid coach, and obviously within our coaching program when enrollment opens again. But you can watch through a bunch of my free videos and learn how to do all this stuff for free right now just by watching my videos. Okay, so just like watch my videos. I cover every single one of these topics. I'm like giving out stuff that most people charge for free on my content, because again, plenty of Muslims out there struggling with weight loss, and I don't want you to be one of them. I want to see the ummah change, because even when I was a kid, before I became a fitness coach, I always wondered why diabetic uncles with big bellies are eating sweets during Ramadan and becoming fatter. Like, I always wondered, like, why would you eat yourself to death? And this is before I even knew about Surah Al-Baqarah verse 195, which is, do not do destruction to yourself by your own hand. Again, the context of that verse is in the context of wealth, but that same lesson and principle, as many things in the Quran which apply to multiple areas of life, applies to fitness as well as really any other area of your life. So again, this particular individual will eventually need to switch to intuitive eating and flexible dieting so they can obviously maintain the muscle, the fat loss, everything else. So again, it's important that everybody who does a deficit does a proper transition. Now, let's talk about the third archetype. So I don't like to pick favorites, but this is typically my favorite archetype to work with, because these guys are super driven. These guys and girls are super driven, these brothers and sisters, and they're down to go super hard, and they're down to be disciplined. They're very coachable because they're used to being coached by, they're like, they had a coach when they were younger, and they're just willing to go hard, and they have a lot of muscle memory. Their body like recognizes the stimulus and adapts it very quickly. So these people actually get the fastest results. Now, the downsides with these guys, they tend to have a lot of injuries, and they also can sometimes be hard-headed. Usually they're humble because they're used to working with a coach, but people who like used to work out but didn't have a coach and were in good shape, and now they're struggling, they're stuck, they keep re-injuring themselves, they keep yo-yoing, just like the chronic dieter, but they still have an ego about it, like, oh, I know what I'm doing, I already know how to train, blah, blah, blah. Those are the ones that are a pain, so I typically turn those people away if they apply to join the program. But obviously, like, the ones who are actually humble enough to admit that they need help, those are like my favorite clients to work with, because their results are super fast and their ability to adhere to the program and implement is spot on. That being said, though, we still help people all over the map. I'd say 20 to 30% of my clients fall into the ex-athlete category. 20% fall into the unaware uncle category or auntie. I'd say 20% fall into the chronic dieter, and 20 to 30% fall into the newbie category. So does that add up to 100? Yes, I believe that adds up to 100. Yes, cool. So that is pretty much our client breakdown. All right, but anyways, so this person who is the ex-athlete so they've got tons of muscle memory, but they need to learn how to warm up properly, because they never used to warm up, because when you're 18, you're bulletproof. You can go like wake up from sleeping on your side and go max on your bench press without doing any warm-up sets, and you'll be fine. Versus like you do that as an adult, your shoulder's going to be wrecked for 6 months. So you obviously need to learn how to switch things up a little bit and warm up properly. And you also got to learn to treat your body like, an old car that you want to last you another, 50 to 70 years, because you're not 22 anymore, you're 32 or 42 or 29 or whatever it may be, and maybe you're 52. You need that body to last you another 50 years, so you can't just be beating it up for the sake of one 45-minute session. You got to be able to go in there and treat your body right so you don't ruin your knees, your back, your shoulder, but instead you're building stability and strength and longevity in those areas so that they can serve you for years to come, inshallah. So that's the first thing you need to learn how to do is warm up. I've got videos on posture and all that stuff, as well as the posture playbook resource, so check that out, inshallah. And then you need to learn how to meal prep and train efficiently, right? So like obviously, maybe you used to work out 3 hours as an athlete, but now you need to learn how to work out more efficiently. You also need to learn how to meal prep, okay? Now, the good thing with ex-athletes is they're usually super down to meal prep. Maybe they're already doing some variation of meal prep. But a lot of people think like meal prep's like this big thing. And I've been meaning to do a video on like super simple, like how to meal prep in a simple way. So I'm definitely going to do that, inshallah. But in the meantime, like, try your best. And then I'll come out with that video soon. So I'll actually make a note to do that video soon, hopefully within next week, inshallah. So may Allah help me to remember to do that video and do a great job with it, inshallah. So anyways, you need like a pretty solid structured meal plan. Athletes do great on structure. You need recipes though, because you got to account for like family and all that stuff. You need obviously a solid training plan. So again, it's a somewhat similar approach to the newbie, but the emphasis is on warming up properly. And then we can go heavier sooner once the pain injuries and form are fixed. So the newbie might need like 8 weeks to learn proper form before they can properly squat with a barbell, versus the ex-athlete will want to squat with a barbell from the beginning, but we have to say, hey, no, you can't do that for the next 4 weeks. You got to learn the form, relearn all this stuff, fix your knees, fix your back, and then we could put a barbell, and then they're good to go. But the beautiful thing is, once we get to that point, I mean, even in those first 4 weeks, we're going super light, where the athlete, like ex-athletes get pissed how light I make them go the first 4 weeks, because they're like, bro, I want to go hard. I'm like, no, the reason why you kept injuring yourself for the last 10 years, you've been trying to get in shape on your own, is because you go too hard. Let's ramp up, and you'll be surprised with these, higher reps, lighter weights, more basic movements, slow reps, how sore you get, and how much muscle memory like bounces back. Like, you're like, holy crap, I feel like I gained like 5-10 pounds of muscle in my first month while losing fat, and I'm like down 10 pounds on the scale. What the heck? Like, that's how fast some of these ex-athletes get results. It's pretty mind-blowing, subhanAllah. And because the muscle memory kicks in, the metabolic capacity kicks in super fast as that muscle memory kicks in, and the body says, oh yeah, this is what it feels like to be fit again, and eat properly, actually probably better than they've ever eaten before, because most athletes, when they were fit, when they were younger, weren't even eating that good, but they just had such a fast metabolism from being a young athlete that they could be in shape while eating, like they could have a six-pack while eating pizza every day. But now that you're eating clean for the first time in your life, or like properly clean with high enough calories and protein that your recovery and metabolism are optimized, but still in a deficit, with such clean food, but making it taste good so you enjoy it, but so clean that your body is just like, whoa. And that's why like these guys, like more, like whenever an ex-athlete joins the program, I'm so excited. I'm like, hey, like before they sign up, I don't like overpromise anything, because I always want to underpromise and overdeliver, right? But once they join, I'm like, by the way, just a heads up, you're probably going to get fast results. No guarantee that your results are going to be faster than average, but history shows that your results are going to be faster than average. I'm just getting excited. You see how genuinely excited I get to work with ex-athletes. But yeah, so metabolic capacity kicks in, they get crazy fast results, subhanAllah. So these are typically like some of you might have seen like on my social media, like, some guys like Morshad got a six-pack in 10 weeks. Like, what? How do you get a six-pack in 10 weeks? Well, Morshad has been like an athlete his whole life. He just never really had nutrition like fully properly dialed in a way that was sustainable, with his family demands being Bengali and having biryani thrown at him every single day, or at least every single week, right? So once we got him dialed in, he got a six-pack in 10 weeks. Now, you might be looking at me and saying, that's got to be capped. That's got to be a lie. There's no way. Hey, look, I'm Muslim. I don't lie. I'm not going to lie to make money, because I got to answer to Allah on the day of judgment. But what I will tell you is this, is as an ex-athlete with a high metabolic capacity and a great base of strength, once we got Morshad dialed in, his results were crazy fast. He also did 10,000 steps a day. That made a big difference as well to expedite his results. Now, you might have seen other transformations like Kareem, also, six-pack in 90 days, or like, I even had a brother in his 40s. His name starts with a J, but I haven't cleared him for confidentiality, so all I have is, his pictures on my website. But again, even though I haven't said his name, 90 days to lose 27 pounds at age 44, running a business and having 2 kids and being married. So husband duties, business duties, father duties, all that stuff. And then he continued to get more shredded in month 4, and he's maintained it for 2 years afterwards. In fact, I think it's been 3 years now since he and I worked together, and he's still shredded, mashallah. And the reason is, well, there's a couple reasons, but part of it was he was an ex-athlete, part of it was he was down to do 10,000 steps a day, and part of it was he followed a meal plan to a T, and I was able to put him on a stricter meal plan because he wasn't the unaware uncle, but rather he was an ex-athlete, okay? Ex-athletes. These are the guys who we get six-packs for fast, but just because you're an uncle or auntie doesn't mean we can't get you a six-pack if you even want that. Most uncles and aunties don't even want a six-pack. They're just like, I just don't want to have a belly, I just want to be healthy, I just don't want to die. But, like, it'll usually take at least 6 to 12 months for a newbie or an auntie to get, or a newbie or an uncle or an auntie to get a six-pack. Like, newbies, sometimes within 12 months. It just depends on your starting points, right? But, the really overweight uncle and auntie is usually going to take like at least a year or two, okay? But usually they don't even want that. But yeah, so the ex-athlete, these are the guys we get a six-pack for in like 3 to 6 months. And alhamdulillah, plenty of ex-athletes follow me. So if that's you, let's hop in, let's do this. If not, hey, you fall in the other categories, so apply stuff in the other categories, and you will still get great results, inshallah. Man, this is making me want to open up another enrollment for clients. So what I'll do is just like shoot me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is @themodernmuslimman. I'll shoot you over the program details, and I'll probably do like an intake end of October, beginning of November, possibly sooner if there's enough demand. But yeah, inshallah, we'll see. All right, so cool. So chronic dieter is the 4th category. So this person needs to learn that massive restriction is not the way to go, and it ruins your metabolism and quality of life, and needs to learn how to eat more but still burn enough calories through the systems and strategies I shared in the last video I posted on YouTube. So I got to post it like within 7 days ago, so check that out for a deeper dive into this. To learn how to burn more calories and lose weight sustainably, as opposed to like yo-yoing, okay? Needs to improve relationship with food and realize that carbs are not evil, right? needs a solid meal plan, but with an emphasis on sustainability and a long-term approach plus fixing metabolism. And usually with a chronic dieter, they're so good at following macros. I can just give them a macro target and a list of foods that are like, and we can over time refine a list of foods that digest well, but they usually already have a pretty good idea because they've done so many diets. But again, the key is just keeping them in the mindset of not restricting, right? So, but yeah, I usually like to put them on like a meal plan. But again, every client I put them on like a meal plan with like a ton of options, like tons of menu items, and we keep refining it until they love it. So yeah, picky eaters obviously take more of my time because it's more time required for me and my team to like fix up their meal plan. Within the first 2 to 4 weeks, they're good to go. And then yeah, so for the chronic dieter, they're going to need to spend at least 4 weeks, sometimes as much as 8 weeks through a reverse diet. And I guess I recently had a guy who I mentioned in the last video, case study, who, you know, within the first couple weeks, like within 4 weeks, we had reverse dieted him from 1,300 calories, which is what he was doing with his previous coach, to 1,800 calories. And he had already lost however much weight I said in the previous video. Like he started at 159, I think he was already down to like 153. So while reverse dieting, he actually lost 6 pounds, which is crazy, while building strength. But usually during the reverse dieting phase, we see people stay at the same body weight, but their waist size goes down and they're gaining muscle and strength. Now, I recently had another brother who started and he's doing a reverse diet, and you know, I think because I increased his fiber intake and his protein intake a little too fast, the first week he got kind of bloated and actually gained some weight, but that usually doesn't happen. Like that's the first time in 6 years that that's ever happened. Ironically, it happened pretty recently. And I was kind of freaking out like, man, okay, we got to get you doing this, and this, because we got to get the bloating down so we can get back to normal. But alhamdulillah, he's feeling better today, as of today. And inshallah, may Allah continue to help him get good results, because you know, I feel bad that he's the first person who, you know, had that response to the increased protein and fiber. But again, don't worry. I've worked with like over 1,000 clients over the last 6 years. So there's literally a 0.1% chance. If I've worked with 1,000 clients and one out of those 1,000 had that response, there's a 0.1% chance that's going to happen to you. And even for him, we're already starting to fix it, inshallah. So anyways, this chronic dieter, right, who both of those individuals fall in the category of, needs to fix up their metabolism. And again, the younger you are, the faster that'll happen. But let's say you're like 47 and you've been doing diets for the last 27 years, or the last 29 years since you were 18, or the last, you know, 32 years since you were 15, and you first became self-conscious about your weight, then, you know, it's probably going to take, it actually might take 8 to 12 weeks. Like I had a sister who's 47 and has thyroid issues. And it took me like a solid, actually because she has thyroid issues, it took like 3 to 4 months to finally get her metabolism fast. Alhamdulillah, during that period, she still lost 4 pounds, but it was kind of a long time to lose 4 pounds. But then once she got to that point, she was able to sustainably lose weight because we got her metabolism fixed. I actually had a brother who started off like, you know, 275 body weight. We got him down to like the 250s over the course of 4 months, even though he had thyroid issues and a long dieting history. But then we were able to reverse diet and get him up to like 2,400 calories, and he started crushing it. And he was like, wow, man, I'm losing weight on 2,400 calories. This is great, you know, as opposed to like the super low calorie stuff he did before. But again, it just depends on the person. So, but most, like 90% of chronic dieters we work with, you know, depending on how long, about 4 to 8 weeks, you know, to reverse diet and build muscle and learn how to lift properly before your metabolism is optimized. We need to do that before we lose weight, because if we put something like that in a deficit, it's just going to be, you know, same thing, different month, right? And it's just going to be another yo-yo diet that they do and then they fall off, right? So I don't want that to ever happen to somebody. I always want my program to be the last program somebody ever needs. So I always make sure that we're adamant before they even sign up that like we're doing a reverse diet. You're not going to lose weight for the first month or two, but you're going to lose waist size. You're going to optimize your metabolism, and then we're going to lose weight. But the gains we're going to make the first month are energy gains, strength gains, all that stuff, flexibility gains, and then we're able to go in a deficit and lose scale weight. And that's a good like growth experience for them too, because they spend 4 to 8 weeks taking action but not being attached to a number on a scale, but being more so attached to how they feel. Totally changes their mindset to where they're like, wow, this is so much better, right? And then they lose the weight and then they keep it off for life, and it's awesome, right? But these are the ones who take the longest time, because again, the uncle, I just have to get him like going for walks and not like eating like ice cream and curry and 10 plates of curry a night. And these uncles will lose like, you know, 30 pounds in like, you know, a couple weeks, right? Versus, you know, the unaware newbie, some of them will take a lot of time because they're a newbie and they haven't built enough muscle mass yet to have a fast metabolism. So it takes time to get things into gear, but at least they gain muscle fast. And then the ex-athletes, crazy fast results. The chronic dieter, about a 1 to 2 month period of delayed gratification where we focus on waist size as opposed to weight, on energy as opposed to, you know, skill weight. And then they start to get really good results, alhamdulillah. So anyways, the key learning is learn how to lift and recover properly, manage stress. You know, everybody, everybody needs to learn how to manage their lifestyle and optimize their stress and optimize their lifestyle better. But chronic dieters tend to run the highest stress. So anyways, I want to make this video short and sweet. I actually don't know how long I made this. Let me actually check real quick because I'm actually curious. How long is this video so far? This video is, oh man, 34 minutes. See, I just can't not go in depth. But alhamdulillah, glad that Allah has blessed me with this passion, and I hope that you gain something for this video as well. So I ended up talking a lot about clients and what we do in our program, just because, you know, to use the case study examples of where this knowledge and experience comes from, in addition to that education I've invested in. But the purpose of this is not to advertise any programs or products. What I'd actually like you to do, as I said, is that, you know, enrollment is temporarily closed. So I would rather that you share this video with other people who you feel would benefit from it, as well as my other videos. So make sure you check out that super in-depth video on like I was on reverse dieting and metabolism that I posted, you know, within the last 7 days. It was the last video I posted on YouTube. And if you go on Instagram, I think it's like a couple posts down, it says everything you need to know about reverse dieting. That one, it's going to be a total game changer for you. So yes, you know, we do have a program, but I want you to do my free stuff first because it may be all you need. And if it isn't, at least you'll have a head start and we can hit the ground running before we start coaching, right? And then, like I said, I'll probably be opening up enrollment like end of October, beginning of November. But if you want more details, I can send you the details and then we can get started whenever that intake ends up happening, inshallah. And since we don't advertise on this video and on most of our videos, again, please do me a favor if you got value from this and reciprocate that by sharing with friends, family, colleagues, or on your social media so we can reach more people, inshallah, and help this ummah get fit, because that is what this whole thing is about. It's not about me, it's not about you. It's about the fact that our ummah, you know, has such high rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, all that stuff. It's a problem that I've seen since I was a kid, and alhamdulillah, today I have the knowledge to help with it. So what I'd like to request is please share this with friends, family, colleagues, whoever you know would benefit. And you can even share it with non-Muslims, but of course, you know, a lot of it's kind of geared to the specificity of what we deal with as Muslims, just because there's plenty of fitness stuff for non-Muslims. And, you know, this stuff is still pretty groundbreaking for a lot of non-Muslims too, because there's plenty of like BS out there in the diet industry. But for Muslims specifically, I want this message to move you and move those in your life who truly matter to you to be healthier, live longer, live a higher quality of life, serve Allah better, become closer with Allah, honor the body and amanah that Allah has given us, and ultimately be better at work because we have more energy and we're healthy and we're confident. Be better with our family because we have energy and we're confident and we have stamina and energy late into the day, so we aren't coming home all drained after grueling through the second half of work because we had no energy and then come home and have zero energy whatsoever to play with our kids. No, we have energy to crush it at work, finish work early because we're so productive, come home, still have energy, play with the kids, burn a ton of calories because our nutrition is optimized for energy, our training is optimized for energy. So you end up losing more fat, spending better quality time with your family, and ultimately crushing it. That's what this is about. We talk about this all day long, but I gotta end it here. And it's hard to end this video, man. It's really, really hard to end these videos because I just get so passionate. But I hope that this passion inspires you to be passionate about your health and fitness as well. This is Munir Lazuni signing out. Check out the other videos, share with a friend, and inshallah, I'll see you in the next video. May Allah help us and bless us all and help us to all implement and be the best Muslims we can be across all walks of life. Inshallah, ameen. Jazakallah khair once again. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.